Picture this. You've been diligent about paying your bills on time, but your credit score still took a hard hit. Can you guess why? You've been ignoring your credit report. Yes, that's right. Ignoring your credit report is like driving with a blindfold. You might think you're on the right track, but you could be heading for a crash. Regularly checking your credit report is crucial. It's the blueprint of your financial behavior, and it's what lenders look at when deciding whether to extend credit to you. So, what happens when you neglect it? First, it's essential to understand that your credit report could contain errors. These could range from simple mistakes like a misspelled name or incorrect address to more serious issues like fraudulent activity or credit lines you never opened. If these errors go undetected, they can negatively impact your credit score, making it harder for you to secure loans or get favorable interest rates. Now, you might be thinking, sure, but how often do these errors really occur? Well, let's put it this way. A Federal Trade Commission study found that 1 in 5 consumers had an error on at least one of their 3 credit reports. That's 20% of people just like you who could be suffering from a lower credit score due to an error. So what can you do about it? Simple. Get in the habit of checking your credit report regularly. The good news is, you're entitled to a free credit report from each of the 3 major credit bureaus every year. Use these opportunities to comb through your report, verify the information, and contest any errors you find. In short, your credit report is your financial health report. Ignoring it is like ignoring a persistent cough. It might seem harmless at first, but it could lead to serious complications down the line. So don't turn a blind eye to your credit report. Regular checks can save you from unexpected surprises, because when it comes to your credit score, knowledge is power, and ignorance is definitely not bliss. Ever thought that one missed payment won't hurt? Think again. Picture this. You've been juggling a lot: work, social life, staying healthy, and somewhere in there you forgot to make a payment on your credit card. It's just one payment, right? No big deal. Wrong. Missing even a single payment can have a significant impact on your credit score. You see, payment history accounts for about 35% of your credit score. This means that every payment you make or miss can either boost or drag your score down. When you miss a payment, it sends a signal to lenders that you might not be the most reliable borrower. This can lead to a lower credit score, which in turn can make it harder for you to secure loans or get good interest rates in the future. Now I know what you're thinking, but I'm only human, and humans forget sometimes. Absolutely right. And that's why there are tools and strategies to help you avoid missing payments. One such strategy is setting up automatic payments. This way you won't have to rely on your memory or scramble to make last-minute payments. Your bank or credit card provider will automatically deduct the payment from your account when it's due. Just make sure there's enough money in your account to cover the payment to avoid overdraft fees. Another strategy is setting reminders on your phone or calendar. If you're not comfortable with automatic payments, this could be a great alternative. A simple reminder can go a long way in ensuring you never miss a payment. And finally, if you do end up missing a payment, don't panic. Contact your lender immediately. They might be able to help you avoid any negative impact on your credit score if you can make the payment soon. Remember, every payment counts, and so does every missed one. So make it a habit to pay on time, every time. It's one of the simplest ways to keep your credit score healthy and your financial future bright. Maxing out your credit card isn't a badge of honor, it's a red flag for your credit score. Picture this. You're at a store and you've just spotted the perfect item. You reach for your credit card, ready to swipe it, completely oblivious to the fact that this purchase could push your balance to the card's limit. You see, there's this thing called credit utilization ratio. It's a fancy term that essentially refers to the percentage of your available credit that you're using. In simpler terms, if your credit card has a limit of $1,000 and you've spent $500, your credit utilization ratio is 50%. Here's the catch. Credit bureaus, the folks who determine your credit score, they're not big fans of high credit utilization ratios. In their eyes, maxing out your credit card screams financial risk. They perceive you as someone who could potentially default on their payments. And voila, down goes your credit score. So, how do you keep these credit bureaus happy? The golden rule is to keep your credit utilization ratio low, preferably under 30%. That means, if your credit card limit is $1,000, try to keep your balance under $300. It shows you're responsible with your credit, and that, my friends, is a green flag for your credit score. Now, you might be thinking, I pay off my balance in full every month, so what's the big deal? Well, here's a little secret. Even if you pay in full each month, The balance reported to the credit bureaus is typically your statement balance. That's the one you see when you get your monthly credit card bill. So, even if you're paying off your balance in full, a high statement balance can still negatively impact your credit score. In conclusion, while it may be tempting to max out your credit card, especially when you spot a good deal, remember that your credit card limit is not a goal to reach, but a boundary to respect. After all, your credit score will thank you for it. Patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to applying for new credit. Now, we all love the thrill of getting approved for a new credit card or loan. It's like a stamp of financial approval, a pat on the back from the credit world saying, "Hey, you're doing great!" But beware, there's a catch. Just like those extra slices of pizza on a Saturday night, too much of a good thing can come back to haunt you. When you apply for credit, the lenders do what's called a hard inquiry to check your credit worthiness. This can cause a small, temporary dip in your credit score. Now, a single inquiry might not seem like a big deal, but imagine several of these happening at once. It's like a swarm of bees attacking your credit score, each sting pulling it down bit by bit. Applying for too much credit at once can make lenders nervous. It sends a signal that you might be desperate for cash, or worse, that you're planning on going on a spending spree without the means to pay it back. It's like turning up at a party with 10 plus ones. It's bound to raise some eyebrows. So what's the solution? Balance and timing. Apply for new credit sparingly, and space out your applications. If you've just been approved for a new credit card, maybe hold off on that car loan application for a bit. Show the lenders that you're not a risk, but a responsible borrower. And remember, not every credit opportunity is a good one. Just because you receive a shiny new credit card offer in the mail doesn't mean you have to accept it. Be selective. Choose the credit options that best suit your needs and financial situation. In the end, it's all about showing that you're a responsible borrower. It's not about how much credit you can amass, but how wisely you use it. Slow and steady wins the credit score race. Closing an old credit account might seem like a good idea, but it can backfire. Now this might leave you scratching your head. After all, isn't it responsible to close accounts you no longer use? The truth is, when it comes to credit scores, it's a bit more complex than that. You see, one of the factors that credit bureaus consider when calculating your score is the length of your credit history. The longer your history, the better your score tends to be. This is because a long credit history provides more information about your borrowing behavior, which helps lenders assess your risk level. So when you close an old credit account, you might actually be shortening your credit history, which can negatively impact your score. But that's not all. There's another factor at play here: your credit utilization ratio. This is the percentage of available credit you're using. It's generally recommended to keep this ratio below 30%. When you close an old account, you reduce your overall credit limit, which can increase your credit utilization ratio if you have balances on other cards. And a higher credit utilization ratio can also lower your credit score. Of course, this doesn't mean you should never close an old credit account. If the account has an annual fee that you're not keen on paying, or if it tempts you to overspend, then closing it might be the best move. But before you do, consider the potential impact on your credit score. Perhaps there are other ways to manage the situation, such as downgrading to a card without an annual fee or setting a lower credit limit for yourself. Remember, when it comes to credit scores, every action has consequences. It's all about understanding these consequences and making informed decisions. And sometimes the smartest decision is to leave an old credit account open, even if you no longer use it. So, there you have it. Old is gold when it comes to credit accounts. Keep this in mind as you navigate your financial journey, and you'll be one step closer to maintaining a healthy credit score. Co-signing a loan is more than just a sign of trust, it's a financial responsibility. Now that's a statement that carries a lot of weight, and for good reason. Co-signing a loan can seem like a simple act of goodwill, a way to help a friend or family member get that loan they so desperately need. But it's a decision that should not be taken lightly. When you co-sign a loan, you're essentially pledging to repay the loan if the primary borrower fails to do so. In the eyes of the lender, you're just as responsible for the loan as the person you're helping out. This may seem fine if you trust the person, but what if they default? What if they suddenly lose their job, or worse, refuse to pay? When that happens, it's you who's left holding the bag, and that's where the credit score damage comes in. You see, the loan you co-sign for is considered part of your financial obligations, and if it goes unpaid, it's your credit score that takes the hit. A single late payment can drop your score by as much as 100 points, and a default? That can spell disaster for your credit health. And it's not just about the credit score. If the lender can't get their money from the borrower, they'll come after you. They might take legal action, garnish your wages, or even force you to sell assets to cover the debt. And all the while, your credit score continues to suffer. So before you put pen to paper, think long and hard about the risks. Co-signing a loan can be a generous act, but it can also be a massive financial burden. Are you prepared to make the payments if the borrower can't? Are you willing to risk your credit score, your financial stability for someone else's loan? Before you co-sign, make sure you're ready to pay. It's not about distrusting the person you're helping, it's about understanding the potential consequences and being prepared for them. After all, your financial future could be at stake. Putting all your eggs in one basket? Not a good idea when it comes to credit. Think of your credit profile as a financial portfolio. Just as you would diversify your investments, it's crucial to have a mix of credit types to demonstrate your ability to handle different kinds of debt responsibly. Having a blend of credit cards, retail accounts, installment loans, finance company accounts, and mortgage loans can positively impact your credit score. Each of these credit types requires different levels of discipline and management skills. When you display a good track record across multiple categories, lenders perceive you as less of a risk. They gain confidence in your ability to effectively manage your finances. However, this doesn't mean you should open new credit lines just for the sake of diversification. Always remember, the goal is responsible management of multiple credit types, not accumulating more debt. Diversify your credit just like you would with your investments. Your income matters, but so does your debt. Don't ignore your debt-to-income ratio. Here's a term that might not be familiar to everyone: debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. This is the percentage of your monthly gross income that goes towards paying your debts. This is a significant factor that lenders look at when considering you for credit. But why is it so important? Well, it's simple. The more of your income that's tied up in debt, the less you have for other expenses. This can lead to financial strain and potentially missed payments, which we've already established as being detrimental to your credit score. So, how is this ratio calculated? It's quite straightforward. You add up all your monthly debt payments. That's everything from your mortgage or rent to car loans, student loans, credit card payments, and so on. Then, you divide this total by your gross monthly income. That's your income before taxes. The resulting number, expressed as a percentage, is your DTI. The ideal DTI varies, but financial experts generally advise keeping it below 36%. A lower DTI shows that you have a good balance between your debt and income. It shows lenders that you're not overextended, that you're managing your debts well, and that you have the financial capacity to take on new debt if needed. On the other hand, a high DTI can be a red flag. It might indicate to lenders that you're struggling to manage your current debt, making you a higher risk. This can lead to higher interest rates or even outright rejections when you apply for new credit. So, what can you do to improve your DTI? Two things. First, reduce your debt. This might mean paying more than the minimum on your credit cards, or refinancing your loans to secure a lower interest rate. Second, increase your income. This could mean asking for a raise, finding a higher-paying job, or even taking on a side hustle. Balance your earnings and debts and watch your credit score. Thank you.